What's going on, everyone? How is everybody doing? The guest I'm getting today is probably the most strong street dancer in Canada, extremely talented, and she is my guest of honor today. It's Dr. Mephisto, and welcome to the ride. ABC, so it's already recording, just so you know.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Cool.
A little cup
It's
holder.
your fancy car. Ooh-wee. You got like a full-on computer.
Yeah, it is. It's very much a nerd car. So how you been?
Good.
Yeah?
I'm busy.
Just came back from France.
Yeah, from your hood.
My hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to hear all. Oh yeah, start by just introducing yourself for people who don't know you though.
My name is Lady C. The C stands for Caroline. Last name Fraser. Yeah, I'm a dancer, musician, human being, resident of the planet Earth. Yeah.
And you're already from Calgary?
Yeah, originally I'm from Calgary, and I've been in Toronto for almost 5 years now.
It's been a minute, eh?
Yeah, it went by fast. Like
I know.
it doesn't feel like I've been here that long. But
7 years for me, eh?
really,
Yeah.
nice.
It's pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. So tell me everything about Juste de Vous. Like, it's pretty crazy. You guys went to the semifinal, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was dope. Like, I think Scramble-Lock and I went into it just wanting to really
Scramble-Lock. For people who don't know, like this.
Okay, so Scramble-Lock was my partner. We entered the locking battle. Scramble-Lock is he's been locking for a long time, and he's like a really big pillar of the locking community, not just in Canada but like in the world. He really he's kind of one of those people that researches everything. He holds records of everything. He has everything like alphabetized on tapes, and so he's just like been really instrumental in like keeping locking going, for sure in Canada.
Shout out to Scramble-Lock.
Yeah, shout out to Scramble.
Yeah.
So yeah, we entered the locking battle together. We won in Washington DC, the preliminary, and then we went to the finals in France. And when we went into it, like, really all we wanted to do is just dance. Like, and that sounds like that's a given, but you know, a lot of times, myself included and him as well, we talked about it. You know, we get caught up in like trying to like pull out all the stops, do all the tricks, and really like impress everybody. And this time around, you know, he's got like some hip injuries and some things going on. Yeah, so he couldn't even really do a lot of stuff that he normally would. And for me, I've just never really been that type of dancer. You know, I don't have like a ton of acrobatic, blow up type of stuff. So we kind of just stuck together in this feeling of let's just dance, let's just get down, be funky, enjoy ourselves, feel out the music, dance with each other. And that's what we did. So we felt really good about it. And yeah, so
I can't wait. I still haven't seen the video. I can't wait.
I think they only have the semifinals out of us.
Oh,
and
I see.
then the finals. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But it was also a treat because, you know, for those that don't know about locking, the original group that started the dance, they're called the Lockers, and one of the original Lockers entered the battle, Tony.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he ended up winning, which was like, you know, we couldn't be happier to see.
Was the semifinal against you?
No,
was he
he was in the other bracket. Unfortunately, we really wanted to dance with him, but so, you know, the win was well deserved for sure. I mean, the man's 72, and he was like killing it. Like,
and Khalif entered
too.
And they won, right?
Yeah, they won.
Yeah.
And again, it was well deserved. You know, it's not just because of who they are. They had really strong partners too. Like, they really deserved to win, and their dancing was just as on point as ever. Like,
yeah.
So that was really inspiring to see. That you can have longevity in this too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it to be on such a huge stage. Was it the first time for you, or you had?
No, that was my first time in France. Period.
Yeah.
And definitely on that stage, and honestly, I felt really comfortable.
Yeah.
A lot of people warned me about like getting up on that stage and kind of freaking out, or that the audience is like not with you because you're not French or whatever. But as soon as I got up there, I just felt the energy of that room, and I just kind of fed off of that.
Yeah, it used to be different, I think. Used to change a lot
Did it?
with the years. Yeah.
In what way?
Well, I saw the evolution because I started going in 2008.
Okay.
So I was there for the first time the twins entered, you know.
Yeah.
And then I went every year for maybe 5 years in a row. And I came back to France from Canada twice just for Just the Boom. Also because it's on the week of my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like a double treat.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, by the way, we're doing something tonight. if you're around.
Oh, okay.
So that on the side. I was there. Yeah, I was there for the first iteration in this room. Before it was in a smaller thing, some like stadium.
Yeah.
And this one was the big, blockbuster battle.
Yeah.
And every year you see that they try to improve something, but it becomes more and more like an American show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. Like they try to make it big and entertaining, but I guess what changes also is the vibe. Like, Juste Debout was the really important part. Is you had the jam on the side of the battle.
Yeah.
And whenever you don't want to watch everything, like you can just go and jam.
Yeah.
The problem now is that the way it's put together, like you just want to keep your chair as well.
Yeah.
Because you didn't experience that, but me and my buddy, every time we go there, we go really early in the morning with like a group of people to take like a full row and keep the chairs. We put like bags and stuff like that on all the chairs to keep them. So it's real fight to keep the chairs. And anyways, this is very different from what it used to be.
I mean, I guess that's okay if you're not really like a dancer that wants to go get down, but if you are and you're just going to like catch a vibe as well as watch, it's not really the type of jam for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I left early because I just couldn't even see.
Yeah.
Like I was like watching it on the like Jumbotron screen.
Oh, really?
Because I could only see sort of the tops of their shoulders and their heads, and I just thought, well, if I'm watching it on a screen here, I might as well watch it on my computer screen, like.
Yeah.
So I left. I left kind of halfway through the finals.
But also, you don't get the energy of the room when you're on your computer screen too. I think it's a big difference.
Yeah.
But sure. I'm surprised because usually they have these VIP sections for all the dancers.
Maybe they did. I didn't know about it. I was just sitting with like Link and Stretch and all them. So I figured if there was such a place, they would probably be there. But I don't know.
So did you get any? What was the follow up with this event? Like, did you make like good contacts after? Like, what's coming after this for you?
To be honest, I thought there would be more that would come out of it. Like, I still had a great time. It was still an awesome experience for me personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of just, I just went back to life. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like book any gigs out of it or anything like that. Or, I mean, maybe down the line it might happen, but I think a lot of that exposure comes from the final battles.
Yeah.
You know, more people will go and watch the finals than they will the semis. But yeah, I don't know. There was like this other part of the experience that was like, I kind of was reminded, I already knew this, but I was just reminded of like the game, you know, and that if you're not a somebody, or, you know, if you're not somebody that's like winning these types of things all the time, then it's not like you get snuffed, but you definitely don't get the like the same like camaraderie.
Yeah.
And that's fine for me. I don't really need that, but it was just like an interesting observation that I kind of made of being like, okay, I see how this machine runs, you know?
Yeah.
But everybody was nice to me and cool. And
so yeah, when I ask, you know, what came after in terms of networking, it's not necessarily gigs related, but more like making contact in Europe. I don't know if you like traveled a lot to Europe before for dance,
no.
But yes, I was curious about this because Raul was on the podcast the first time, for the first episode, and yeah, he was telling me that when he started like going to Europe and everything, he just made so many contacts and that kind of like, you know, opened his mind toward the dance, the difference between the different scenes, you know.
Right. I mean, yeah, I did meet a lot of like dancers from all over the world, really, but I haven't really done the Europe thing to a big extent yet. I would like to. I had to come back to Toronto for an event that I had to judge here, so I wasn't able to like stay and see it through a little bit, but I think if I went back, I made some good contacts to like hit up and go and meet up wherever they're at. And yeah, I mean, the locking community especially is really small and really like everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't really in that circle so tightly because I do a lot of other dances, and also I just never, I like to meet people organically, like not just because we do the same dance, you know, like, so I met a lot of the people that I always heard about, and so it was nice to kind of like meet these people face to face.
So like who, for example?
You know, like Funky J and Foreman, and like all those dancers that you see, like,
shout out to Funky J.
Yeah,
my girl. We used to take my hip hop teacher, El Funky Juice. He's like our New Jack Swing teacher. Okay, nice. It's called a Hype in France, but yeah, we used to take those classes together. Yeah. And yeah, so okay, I'm gonna go over those topics, but I already know it because we know each other. But for people who don't know you, in terms of like, because what you just said, you like to meet people organically. There's a bunch of stuff that I know like this. But so when did you start dancing, and what's your story regarding to dance?
How did I start?
To get like a little more into this. Like you do multiple dances.
Yeah.
You mentioned that.
I was already dancing. I was doing like studio dance because, you know, my mom put me in it or whatever. And then when I was 15, there was a summer camp that was happening in Calgary, and it was called Get Down. And my friend Tara Wilson ran it, and the whole purpose of the camp was to like, it was all different street styles, only street styles, and she would bring all the OGs. Or at least like one in each style to teach. So I had no idea what any of these things were. I just heard about this camp, and I heard that these people called the Electric Boogaloo were going to be there.
Oh, I see.
And you know that YouTube wasn't even really a thing at the time, so I couldn't just like look them up. I just caught wind that they taught Michael Jackson. So that was like literally the only thing that kind of like hooked me in to go see what this was about. And then when I got there, I was just like, I felt like I had found where I belonged. Like the music, the people, the stories that they were sharing. Like I really connected heavy with that whole world, and so I just like dove into it. And there wasn't a lot going on in Calgary at the time as far as street styles. There was a lot of breaking and not much else. So I would just take what I learned like in that week, and I would just like practice it like by myself for like all the whole year. I would just go into a studio and try and freestyle and try to remember whatever they taught me. So like my first day doing street dance, I literally learned all the styles that I still do today. I learned them all in one day, on the same day. Yeah. And I kept doing them all ever since. So, and my teachers were like Pop and Pete, Sugar Pop, Khalif, Link. Like those were the people that I was learning from right out the gate. So I was just really lucky that I was in the right place at the right time, because I didn't know what I was getting into. So yeah.
So when did you? I wanted to ask, was your sister a big influence?
Yeah, she was. Like, she was the one that told me about the workshop, actually. So her and I were already dancing together, and then we started like kind of working together. She would choreograph some of my routines for these competitions and stuff like that. And then she went to university, to the dance program at U of C, and one of the sessional teachers was Tara Wilson, and she was teaching like, you know, some version of popping, locking, hip hop. And then Saxon found out through her that she was bringing all these people down in the summer. So Saxon would come home and be like, yeah, I learned this dance called locking. And she would show me like, you know, a roll and point and 1, 2 ting, and like we would just be in the kitchen, like me trying to copy what she was doing, and then she's like, let's go to this workshop, you know, what's happening in the summer, like let's go. And that was it. So, and then she also opened a lot of doors for me in terms of like getting into being a professional dancer and like how that works. She got me into a lot of like theater shows and corporate gigs and like things where I learned how to like be a professional.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was huge, for sure.
It's funny because you guys seem to be so like different dancers, but at the same time, like you guys work so well together.
Yeah. Well, yes and no.
Yes and no? I don't know that.
We fight a lot.
Yeah?
We fight a lot, but it's all love at the end of the day, you know. I think movement-wise and creatively, we're always on the same page, but the process of how we get to that, our process is very different.
Yeah, I have a hard time imagining you getting mad.
No, not mad, not mad, just frustrated. We get very frustrated with each other because, like I said, like our process is very different, so we're getting better. Now we allow each other, we're patient with each other and each other's way of like getting from the idea to the creation.
Smoothing the stubbornness.
What's that?
Smoothing the stubbornness.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, so, but I love working with my sister. We just, last weekend we created a piece in 24 hours and performed it at H2O.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
And so beyond the She's the one on the side, like what's happening in your career right now?
Well, I kind of have these two parallel careers, one in dance and one in music. So I'm a singer and a songwriter, and so I'm really trying to put more energy into that these days. I have always been doing it, for like 15 years, but now I'm really starting to like create a solid body of work, and so I'm trying to just kind of shift my energy into that a little more, and then find a way to kind of make those two things work together, whether that be a show or videos or whatever. So yeah, music. They actually played my song in the finals at Shestebu.
Really?
The popping finals.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I just
Who was the DJ?
Batsu.
Okay.
So it was actually an unreleased track. We just released it last week, and it's myself singing and Kid Boogie made the track. So Kid Boogie's a popper from LA, and yeah, neither of us knew that Batsu was going to play it. I think Kid Boogie had just given it to him just so he could hear it, and
nice.
he ended up playing it in the
Just send it to me.
finals.
I'll play it too.
Yeah, it's called Curiosity Killed the Cat. So we just released it on Friday, and it's on Spotify and iTunes and all that. So
Sick.
yeah. So
I'm starting producing some music too.
oh, nice, cool. House, hip hop, what?
Afro house.
Okay, nice.
Also just starting.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn. My God, like that's why I don't produce music. I just am the vocalist.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, that's what I'm looking for right now.
that's it. But you're into like computers, so you'll be good at it.
Yeah. So you released that track. You have it here, because I mean, like, since it's your content, we can play it.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like, do you want me to just plug it in, or?
Well, you can definitely. Well, anyway, you can just put your Bluetooth and you can play it. That's a good thing. Like, if I have people on the podcast that sings or do like music content, that's theirs, and there's no conflict with the
Yeah,
copyrights. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm working a bit with Kid Boogie, and then we have a couple more tracks that we're working on, and then I'm part of Catch the Ghost Records, which is kind of an offshoot of my crew, Soul Shifters, which is based out of the Bay Area. So Koflo is one of the dancers in my crew, and we've been working together for almost 10 years now with music. And he's really taking off as a house producer mainly, and really killing it. He's done a bunch of collaborations with like Ocha Records and Ocean Lade and Doug Gomez, and like a lot of, he's really killing it. So we've released a number of tracks together as well in the house genre. So yeah, that's kind of on the music tip, and then on the dance tip, I'm doing a new creation. I can't really say what for yet; it hasn't been officially released, but it's a theater creation. So I'm going to be working on that in the summer, and yeah, it's within the street dance genre. Hopefully, I'll have live music with them on stage, and so that's kind of the next big project that I have going. Yeah. And then traveling and doing judging battles and things like that.
So it's been working pretty well for you in the 5 years in Toronto.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my work is outside of Toronto, but Toronto's been like a really awesome home base, and I mean, from the moment I got here, everybody showed me so much love and welcomed me, so
yeah.
It's been great.
I think that must be the one.
Is that me?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. And so to produce this music, do you travel, or do you?
Sometimes, like next month, I'm going to be traveling to California to work on some stuff with Koflo.
Okay.
We're trying to create a Lady C album now, so a lot of the stuff we've released is like Koflo featuring Lady C, and now we have enough work to create like an album project for myself. So that's been a long process, but hopefully it will see the light of day sometime soon.
Anything like, so you say you try to spend energy on both those different careers, but do you find a way? I'm asking this because I'm also like in middle of 2 different careers. Yours are actually like very related to each other,
right.
But is there a lot of parts of those 2 careers that kind of like cross path, like you can actually mix both of them pretty often? And
yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just as an example, well, it's just Debut. that definitely was a moment where they crossed, you know. I'm there competing as a dancer, and then they drop my track, you know. So that was like a cool moment for sure. And then another example, I'm going to the Blueprint Festival, which is in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, next month. And as part of the festival, Catch the Ghost Records is doing a full night where we're going to perform, like all the artists that are on the label are going to perform. So you have Khalif is going to perform his music.
Oh, Khalif is making music?
Yeah, on Catch the Ghost Records, yeah. So he's been producing some house tracks. They're really dope. Cody and I have a set that we're going to do. Orb, I don't know if you know Orb from Circle of Fire. Yeah. So he does hip-hop and rap.
Really?
So he's going to perform. So yeah, that's a really good example of like when it really crosses over.
It's funny how the dance community, from what I see, is really the element of hip hop that is trying to keep it, keep multiple elements together.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like everything is so segregated.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Dancers, I think, keep at heart to do multiple things in hip hop culture.
Right, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, like even Koflo's wife, her name is Tsunami. She's also like a legendary house dancer from the Bay Area. She's part of Circle of Fire as well. She is also like a visual artist. And her work is super dope. So a lot of our album covers for me and Koflo's music is her artwork.
Yeah.
So it like all comes full circle, and it's all mixed in like within our community and within the people that surround us are all like these amazing artists. We have another crew member, he goes by Woes. He's a graffiti artist, and he has this one very famous character called the Angry Panda. And that's on our crew like merchandise, and he's always like, you always see the Angry Panda like involved with Soul Shifter stuff. And so yeah, I think it's cool to bring all those art forms together because they all complement each other and build each other up, you know?
Yeah. So how do you, like you talk about merchandise, but how do you handle this whole, you talked about the game also earlier, handle this whole business side of your career, and because you obviously passionate by hip-hop and all else what's around, but the business is something that really, it wasn't born into the hip-hop culture, right?
Yeah.
But it's something that plugged onto this whole world, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think I think it first really started with like the music, right? Hip-hop music started to get a lot of love, and all of a sudden every record label had a hip-hop artist on it that made them a ton of money, and they themselves started making a ton of money. So, but in the process, I feel like our generation is kind of fortunate in an unfortunate way in that we got to see all the failures of that.
Yeah.
And kind of what not to do, or what to be careful of, or what to watch out for. So, I think one of the main things for me is just being careful that I'm not being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
If I feel in my gut that it's fair, like it's a fair exchange, like what I'm doing is worth what they're paying me, or what I'm doing is not compromising any of my dignity or integrity as an artist or as a person or as a woman. That comes up a lot. If I feel in my gut that it's fair and it's not compromising me in any way, then that's usually a good intuitive way to go about the business side.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that I had to learn too, because being an artist and being a business person are very different things.
Yeah.
So it's
definitely
really hard to like try to bring those things and make them work copacetically, like. And it takes time, I think, but we're also in the age of like self-promotion, which is a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
Because it feels very like vain, or it feels just I don't know, not organic for me as a person. Like, I feel weird sometimes posting my own stuff and bigging myself up.
Yeah.
But I think over time I found a way to do it that I feel comfortable with, that I feel is just like me putting my stuff out there honestly and not like blowing it up and trying to pretend like it's something it's not, you know? And I found a way to put content into social media that still feels kind of like organic to me.
Isn't that promoting a little bit like singing? Like if you constantly try to sing like others and you feel like it's not natural, but then eventually you find your voice.
Right, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and do you find that, like for example, I started DJing because, you know, I have my side career, and this is really just to kind of like burn some steam and you know, have pleasure and you know, and some pleasure in like working too.
Right.
And the business side of it sometimes kind of like not wasted, but kind of you need to be careful and not like make it a work as well.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very flaky thing. You need to be careful with that. I don't know if you find that challenging.
Yeah, definitely. For the most part, I feel really blessed to do what I love.
Yeah.
As my job. For the most part, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's always like things that are not as fun or not as enjoyable, but I think that's the truth no matter what job you have. So I think for the good parts, they heavily outweigh the bad parts, and they bring me so much joy. I love going to different events in different places and meeting different communities of people and watching them dance and sharing, you know, my 2 cents when I teach. I love to share, and I love to perform. I love to create. So I think, like, for the most part, it's a positive experience for me. What kind of gets tricky sometimes is like knowing your worth and being able to communicate that clearly. Like, if, you know, because the lines get blurred because a lot of times you're dealing with like your homies, like, that want you to do a job for you or judge an event or something like that, and you have to kind of like negotiate pay and like these awkward things that you don't really like want to talk like that with your friend. But at the end of the day, you're kind of like, you have to just sort of communicate like, I don't have a 9 to 5, this is my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And my time is worth money, because if I come and do your event for free, I might have to turn down another one that pays me, you know? So, but again, it's that thing of like feeling in your gut, is it worth it? So I do a lot of stuff for free sometimes because something about the event or the job that I'm doing is worth my time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whether it be a charity thing or a kid's thing or something for a really good friend of mine, or, you know, stuff like that. So I think just sort of listening to your intuition a little bit. But yeah, it's tough. And then like you get to that point where you're like, okay, other people, when they work a job for 10 years, they get a raise.
Yeah.
So like, maybe I should raise my pay. And then you're kind of like, whoa, what am I worth? Like, that's a weird question. They're like, what do you charge for an hour workshop? And you're like, it sounds like a simple question, but it's kind of deep. You're like, what am I worth in comparison to other people that I know are getting paid $500 a workshop, $1,000 a workshop? How close am I in relation to their standard? Like, or like, that's all you really have to go on, you know? And what do I have in my repertoire that like validates me charging this much per hour? Or whatever. Like, these are weird things to kind of ask yourself, you know? So
yeah, I see that a lot with older dancers that, you know, people start talking about them, saying, oh, you know, now they change, it's all about money. But yeah, at the same time, it's a weird space. Art is a weird space.
It's a weird space, but at the same time, I'm like, those guys, like if we're talking about, you know, the OGs, some of them have been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
I think after 40 years of working any job, you should be paid top dollar, like, because your experience is totally invaluable, like, and.
But it's tricky because the thing is, in any field, you will be paid on performance as well. And seniority doesn't always mean performance.
That's right.
It means, like in art, it means knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, the knowledge is what you're being paid for, right? Your stories and everything. And if you are a writer, like, artist is a weird thing. It's all about your knowledge and your experience. But when it comes to any other type of job, it's usually performance.
Yeah. Well, there's this weird thing that they have that is just different from all the rest of us, which is that they were there.
Yeah.
And none of us can fill that role.
Yeah.
None of us can teach a workshop and tell the students what it was like making up these dances in the disco in the 60s.
It's like when you're president and you're done, and then you go for conferences and they pay you top dollar just to talk about your experience.
Yeah, because nobody else can claim that experience. Like nobody else except for Don Camelot can tell you what it was like to create Lock-It.
It's the rarity of the information.
Exactly. So I think they are a special exception. And I don't know if when I'm still dancing 20, 30 years down the road, I don't know if I'll be worth the same amount in terms of that, in terms of just like knowledge, because I didn't create any of these dances. So there's just this one little extra piece that they have that is just worth, it's not even worth any amount of money. It's just totally invaluable. It's priceless.
So let's dive into this, like the worth of a workshop. What do you think of this? Because that's what you experience as any branch of art. Is right now it's all about the brand, right?
Right.
It's the brand, it's the following, it's all that has a financial value. What do you think of that?
I'm so lost when it comes to that. Like, I have my rate, and I based it off of kind of other people in my circle that I kind of feel I'm sort of around the same level as them and the same years of experience, and that's really what I based it off of. And we've had, like, you know, in Montreal we had like a meeting where all the street dancers got together, or the ones that were kind of like my generation. We like met at a Starbucks and talked about this, of like, let's create some sort of a standard that we should be paid, so that, you know, people that don't really understand what we do and don't understand dance won't ask me for my rate, and then they go, oh, that's too much, and then they ask my homie who should be charging the same amount, they charge less, and then we're just undercutting each other without knowing it.
Yeah.
Or they'll just go hire some kid that just started yesterday for a free sandwich, you know? So it's like something that I think people don't want to talk about, but amongst ourselves, I think it's good to share that information, because otherwise we're all going to be out here like charging our different rates, and some of us should be charging more. Like some dancers I know charge like nothing, and I'm like, what? I would pay you like $1,000 to learn what you do. Like, you're incredible and you've paid your dues. Like, so, but it's a weird thing. It's like, how do you measure that? I don't really know.
What do you think? What do you think of Toronto in terms of like workshop and following in people involvement in dance, and compared to other cities that you've been?
I'm gonna be honest. I think there's a lot of people teaching classes and choreographing and getting a lot of gigs and stuff that are not ready.
Yeah.
And that's a bold statement, but
it's the same thing for music.
I don't really know too much about the local music scene. Like, I know the people that I enjoy listening to, but also it's just a different taste in music that I'm not super into. Like, I don't really listen to like trap and like The Weeknd and stuff like that. It's just not really my thing. So I can't comment as much on that, but I do think that there's so many classes here in Toronto that the teacher should still be the student. And I feel like that was not the case like 10, 15 years ago here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like if you went and took a hip-hop class in Toronto 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it was like dope.
Yeah.
And you would get your ass kicked, like, and you know, even professional dancers that were getting hired for gigs and stuff were still in class and still training under these people to like get their skill level up and be a mature dancer. And I feel like a lot of people, not that they're bad dancers, but they're just not ready yet. And I don't think I was ready when I first started teaching either, but it also had to do with the circumstance that in Calgary there was no one else that was going to teach this stuff.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to grow the community, I was basically the only one, maybe one of 2 or 3 people that could do it. So I would just share what I knew and try to grow the scene, you know. So I don't know, everybody has their reasons for wanting to teach or wanting to choreograph or.
So what do you think is missing?
There's just a certain quality that I don't see anymore, like, and it's not that it couldn't be there, it's just that people aren't taking their time to get there anymore. Everybody's jumping the gun, trying to just get on stage or just get a workshop or get a gig,
like a desperation for recognition or something.
I don't know what it is, but or maybe there's just nobody that's like in that mentorship role that can tell them like, yo, you're not that dope yet, like you got some work to do, and let me help you, let me show you how to do that, let me train you a bit more so that when you get on stage, like, you look like professional and like you have some sort of maturity in your movement.
So no constructive criticism.
Maybe. I'm not really
lines.
sure because I don't know what their training is like or what their life is like. And you know, that's a really general statement. Obviously that doesn't apply to like all dancers, but I'm talking more about like the industry.
Yeah.
The commercial side of things, I feel like is a lot different than the days of like Doodad and Tanisha Scotts and like all of those dancers that were, I don't know, just a really high level. The street dance scene, I feel like, is cool. Like there's starting to be more of like an interaction among different groups of people now, whereas before when I first moved here I felt like it was all kind of very separate. So I see some cool things happening in the street dance community.
Oh, maybe I should come back then. I took a step, I don't know, I stepped away at some point. It was too much.
It's different. It's just a different generation also. Like, I really miss parties. Like, I really miss...
Oh, you should come to Ubuntu.
Well, I don't really get down to, like, Afro. Like,
oh, no. Well, yeah.
I went once and I was like, whoa, this is, like, overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to, like, get down. But it was fun. But, yeah, it just was, like, really out of my element there. But I meant more, like to the type of music that I usually am dancing to. Like, that's how I learned how to dance those styles, was, like, at clubs all the time.
Yeah.
You know? But
well, I mean,
maybe I'll give it another chance. I'll come through.
Yeah, well, oh shit, what am I stopping? Yeah, I play a lot of, like, this is way more house now.
Oh, okay.
This is a lot of house. We try to, I'm in my hip hop phase right now. I wanna play more hip hop actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and when I say hip hop, like, I'm rediscovering, like, groups like Das Effects and everything, so I've been playing a lot of stuff like this, and a lot more dancers have been coming recently, so we try to really spice it up. Yeah, I'm working on other parties where I'm gonna really play more hip-hop, because that's my first love anyway, so but it's difficult in Toronto because I find that people are so obsessed with hearing what they already know, and this is very sad, because a lot of DJs here, they just they just switch to this state of mind where, you know, they wanna work, so they wanna, they know people like consumers and they're not that curious, so
Right.
they stop, they put on the side this very important element of DJing, which is educating,
And digging for their own
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
curiosity, and yeah, I don't
I
know,
feel
and they
you.
have those music, they have them, but they don't take the risk
Yeah. I feel you.
because there's so much competition and they don't want to lose that relationship
Right.
with the owners or whatever.
Right.
And not everybody has the courage to start their thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I feel you, because like I know from hearing stories that that's kind of what it was to be a DJ back in like 70s and 80s. Is like, you know, they'd scratch out the labels on their records because they had shit that no one knew
Yeah.
about, and they didn't want anybody to know what they're playing, because that's why people would come to hear shit that they've never heard before. And so yeah, that's an interesting point, because you're right, it's not really that type of thing anymore, which is a shame, because I would love, I dance the best off of music that I've never heard before. I mean, it has to be stuff that I'm feeling, but
you're not digging Afro.
no, it's not that I don't dig it. It's just that I, it's like something that I don't feel a direct connection to. That's all.
I see.
It's not just like I like any music that I've never heard before. It has to be something I feel a connection to.
I see.
I really, really dig like funk and soul and house music. Like,
Yeah.
that's mostly what I go out to dance to. But it's not that I don't like Afro music. I was just having a better time watching everybody else get down
Yeah.
than like me getting down.
Yeah. The reason why I went into this personally is I went to like an Afro class, and one of my partner, actually the guy who has been with, introduced me to more African music. I had some from when I was in France, but I was not really into it. And I was just really tired of hip hop, and even house here got me a little, because I'm personally I'm not a fan of like the old school soulful house that much.
Mhm.
Well, I used to love it, but you know, I kind
Mhm.
of like moved on. I have phases in music,
Yeah.
and I also really love what hip hop used to be,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like
I know you talk about this a lot.
people. There's like a mainstream of old school hip hop here.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I don't know, going to those African parties made me feel this element of party that you had
The energy.
in hip hop.
The energy of it.
This you know, spontaneity.
Yeah.
The desire to dance, even if you don't necessarily know the moves.
Right.
And most important is that there's people dance.
Mhm.
Those are street dance. There's a lot of foundation. There's a lot of history behind it, and a lot of people know them without going to a class, and
Right.
that's the part that was very interesting.
Right. Yeah.
And it makes people. So you have a lot of dancers coming, and then you have a lot of people who have this culture, and they come together, and then it creates something interesting. And,
No, I hear you. I totally see it, and I totally feel it for sure.
and I feel like it's this music is the one right now that brings everybody together, because everybody is agreeing that it's a dope sound.
Yeah, I hear
So
you.
yeah.
I hear you.
So through Afro, we're trying to like also bring back certain music that people, because people like to get down to it without knowing the songs. We're like, okay, let's do this, play some Afro, and then play some dope track that people don't necessarily know when that little time window when they're ready to hear it,
Yeah.
when they're open because they feel good.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right that it's the music of this time that is going back to that party vibe and that social atmosphere. I think for me, one thing that I kind of enjoy when I go out dancing, I enjoy getting down, you know, with a group. We're all doing the same movement. We're all we're all on the same vibe. But then I also enjoy my like finding a corner and just like zoning myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the Afro music is more of like that collective party vibe.
Yeah.
And if I'm in the mood for that, I would be so down.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like it or enjoy it. It's just that I have to be in that mood. You know?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, but you're right. Like those dances are so much fun. Like I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, but I'm just like trying whatever that I can come up with in my body to like try to like feel that connection to that music, and it feels good, you know. So I appreciate it very much. Yeah.
And so do you have any like have you had your music played in Toronto actually?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I might not know about it. Like
Definitely gonna take a
probably
listen.
some of the house songs, I
Yeah.
would imagine, maybe. Just because we've been releasing with some more well-known house producers, so I think through that they get more exposure and more people buying them. Yeah. But always at battles and stuff like that, people will play my music, which is so nice.
And shit, what was I gonna say? What are your go-to events in the city for now? Like, I don't know if you actually go out dancing a lot, but
I don't.
Yeah.
Because I travel so much and I'm always at events and these like very like socially demanding
Yeah.
things that when I come home I get a little bit like a recluse, like, because I am somebody that needs that balance of alone time,
Yeah.
me time, because when I am like the Lady C and that person, I have to be very open and giving of my energy.
There's a term for this when you're at the middle of the spectrum of being introvert and extrovert.
Yeah, I think I really am in the middle. And so when I'm home, I tend to not do a lot of stuff. And I'm also working on my music a lot when I'm home because I have a home recording setup.
Okay.
So I record music when I can, because when I'm on the road, I can't like bring all my gear with me, and sometimes it's just not the situation that I can do that. So when I'm home, I'm working on my music. So yeah.
So do you actually do a bunch of performance in Toronto as well, like for?
No, and I would really love to.
Yeah.
But I think, like with music, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying ever since I got here to make that happen. And I think that it's just the universe was just like, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
And you haven't met the right people. And so now I'm okay with it. Like before I was really like trying to push it, like why am I not meeting like the right musicians? And like I would try to set stuff up and it would fall apart, and it just kept happening. And then I was kind of like, well, maybe I should listen to that for a second, and maybe there's a reason. So I think it's just that it's like dance, where you can't just meet somebody, they say, oh, I'm a dancer, and you're like, oh, cool, let's create a piece together. Like, you don't know if just because you're dancers doesn't mean you're going to, like, vibe together creatively, you know? So it's the same with musicians. Like, I've met a lot of musicians, but I think it just takes a bit of time, same with dance, to find those people that you're on the same page, like, creatively. And, like, with what type of music you're into and stuff like that. So I'm still working on it. Like, I'm still... This dance creation that I'm working on in the summer will be kind of like a step in that direction, because I want to have live music as part of it. But I would really love to be performing more, because recording is one thing. I really enjoy writing and recording music, but I really miss performing on stage and singing live. I was doing a lot of that in Calgary. I was doing more of that in Calgary than I was dancing.
Yeah, I remember you did. I went to one of the events you put together where you brought that band.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, by that time we had been kind of like, we didn't quite work as well together anymore as we did when we were performing regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But and I think I'm like ready for a different sound than that like full on like funk band.
Yeah, I had another question with respect to dance, but what do you think of people's relationship to freestyle in Toronto?
I think it's the same as it is anywhere, where you have like these few certain people that really that's their gift, you know, and then there's some that are still discovering it or still trying to find that confidence in it. So there's a few dancers in this city that I feel have something very special when it comes to that freedom of expression in freestyle. Also depends like what style we're talking about, but yeah, I don't know if specifically the.
I mean, I have a project that I want to put together for in Toronto. It's some sort of like artist incubator type of format. I've been thinking about it and trying to build that system. It's a system basically, but I find that freestyle is it's really challenging as a person because it requires so much self-criticism, and we're in the generation, especially with younger people, where we want to get approved right away.
Right, yeah.
And so you kind of like, you can't just stick to what you know when you want to improve your freestyle skills. And I also find by observing a little bit Toronto for all those years that there's a lot of groups, little circle of validations.
Yeah.
Where if you don't get out, like people are not going for people who are going to try to give them critical feedback, constructive feedback, but more for those validation bubbles. And that's what social media also bring to you. And so I've been trying to find a way to put together a system that can still push like constructive criticism without being too negative, because people seem to be very sensitive.
That's a tough one, because
it's a tough one.
People sometimes take those opportunities to say something mean or say something just to take someone down, you know.
The system I put together is very much related to how video game works. But I don't.
Is this the one that you did as part of one of those brain freeze events?
It's related.
Okay.
But everything is gonna come into place. Like it takes time. It takes a lot of energy from me. But we'll talk about it off the video, because it's a work in progress. Okay, madam. It's a work in progress, but yeah. I still want it to be my project.
Yeah. I feel you.
But yeah, we're working with Raul on this, and yeah, I don't know. You'll
it's
definitely
a weird thing.
like,
it's a weird like, because it's so subjective. Like
DJing is such a crazy example of this. You have someone who, they went to a party or two and they play the music on their phone and, oh, you should be a DJ, and then they buy equipment and then they invite their friend, and their friend is just so hyped because they get drunk,
right.
And then you just get validated so much that you not get hired because you have necessarily talent, but more because you have a following.
Yeah.
So it's also what the feeling I had when I was teaching dance here. It's all about really how much you sell and not really what you teach. I don't know, that's the feeling I had. Now I can't talk because I'm not in it anymore.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying before.
Yeah.
It's like they're not necessarily ready as teachers, but they have something that on the business side of things works for, the studio and they're to pay the rent. Like, so
because people want to consume something. What do you think about all those classes? Okay, so I'm trying to put together a corporate event for my company where I'm gonna bring, I want to build this agency where I'm in the corporate world, tech world, and then I want to inject my dancers and artists to come and perform for those companies.
Nice.
And so right now I'm building like a dance night for this company where I'm gonna bring 3 styles. I'm gonna bring popping, samba, and salsa.
Oh.
And basically, I was pitching this project to this lady at office, and she's like, "Oh, I have a super idea. Why don't we do like what's this game again? The game where they have all those dance moves. Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Why don't we do like a Fortnite class where we teach people the dance from the game?" And I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. This is just so retarded what you just said right now. Sorry, we can't say retarded.
You might want to edit that.
This is so stupid.
Okay, there's a thing about this too, though, because this just blew up. Now that you're bringing up Fortnite, there was a thing where this woman in Red Deer, Alberta, like teeny tiny Red Deer, she had a little social night for kids, and she called it Fortnite something.
Okay.
Where the kids can come on a Friday night, dance, have a good time, and hang out. And a guy who runs like a hip-hop studio in Red Deer put her on blast, like put her on Facebook and tagged all the OGs, tagged me, tagged a whole bunch of people, and just called her out, posted all of their private conversations of her just being like, hey, I'm just trying to do something for these kids so they can like not go out and get drunk, and they can just like come have fun and like socialize, and that's their thing. Like, so I have like this love-hate relationship with things like Fortnite, and there's so many others, where it's like, yeah, okay, it's a little bit exploiting our culture, and it's taking things out of context and rebranding them and all this other shit. But at the same time, people that are not in our culture have no clue, and like I feel like it's not fair for us to like punish them or be upset at them for not knowing that this is not called whatever they call it in Fortnite. It's actually an old hip-hop dance. It's called this or that. Like these kids, that woman, like they're just having fun with this shit, and it's just bringing them joy, and that's all they know it as. They didn't come up through our culture, and they weren't educated in this type of way. So I feel like although we do need to maintain we do need to make that information available, and not let it like go down in history as the Fortnite dances. Like we do need to interject our knowledge of like what these things actually are, but at the same time not like come down so hard on like people that are just bystanders of it, you know, and just they don't know.
I had a guy on this podcast once, one of my favorite DJ in the city, TK Smooth, and he's from Zimbabwe. He's from Zimbabwe, and he, I was asking him about all those people, who are putting African music in their song or their music right now. You have a lot of like. He used to tell me that back in the days they were that African stigma where people didn't want to play African music in like Caribbean parties and everything, and now they are. And I was asking him, well, isn't that frustrating for you that now that there's a financial aspect to it? It's shiny. People want to use it.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, no. Like, I'm just happy that it helps. It helps us, and it was really some sort of aha moment for me. I was like, wow, this is really an interesting mentality.
Right. I think you could probably argue both sides pretty equally, because on the other side of it, I often think like when I hear something like Justin Bieber's "Sorry," that song, and it has like a Afro-Caribbean, reggaeton kind of vibe, and I think like, isn't that interesting that it's only getting tons of radio play because this white kid is singing it, but it's 100% like Afro music or some version of it, and like that can be said for so many artists that are putting out, and like you said, it's shiny right now. Like this is the sound that everybody wants because Rihanna made it popular and Drake made it popular, and then all like these mainstream artists that were never in that musical genre and have no clue about it. They're just putting their lyrics over top of a Afro or Caribbean beat, you know? So I think you could totally argue the side of, like, again, it's exploitation of that and it's appropriation or whatever. And then on the other side, maybe that's the other argument is like, well, maybe it brings some exposure to this style of music and these cultures. And I don't know. I think it's like an interesting topic because depending on how you choose to look at things in life in general, you can create a strong argument.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm someone that always tends to look on the bright side of things. So I like that guy said that. Like that's a cool perspective.
Yeah, and it was refreshing because I'm just so used to hear so much hate.
Yeah.
You know, and I think social media is a huge factor of this. Okay, I don't want to go off topic too much, but there's all those social media, they have algorithm that basically are trying to make people argue.
Yeah.
Because then people want to come back more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is being pushed a lot.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That is so weird. It's true though, because I mean, not to cut you off, but like if I post something like positive or like a cool picture or something, it gets like a few likes. If I post something where like once every 5 years I have a strong opinion about something, or I'm like feeling a way about something, and I just like put that out there, comments, likes, like it goes around the world.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you just said that, because I totally believe that.
Yeah, that's a sad part of this era we are in right now.
It's very sad. It really is. But I don't know. I think the more like positive perspectives that we can inject into things, the better, because things are getting so heated all the time. Every topic turns into like this heated debate. But
that's why the positive stuff needs to stick to reality.
That's true. That's true.
But
I have a question for you, quickly. How do you feel as a white man DJing Afro music? I'm sure you've been asked this.
Yeah.
But like, do you ever get any negative feedback from that?
That's the thing. I'm just used to it because I'm mixed and people don't necessarily see it. And I grew up in the Black community like all my life. That's just all I know. And so I've been many times in that position of being looked down, you know, like, what the fuck is that guy, you know? And so, you know, I'm used to it. But the thing is, I don't create those events out of, you know, like a race or a cultural side. My cultural side is dance. And that's what people understand is I'm playing those music because they make you want to dance.
Yeah. And
I partnered with a guy who's from Rwanda, so he's bringing his African culture,
right?
Because he plays, like, he specializes in Afro house and all those African flavored electronic music, and I'm bringing all the dance music, basically. So that's what makes our event very interesting. And but yeah, I think people understand that, and I never really had any. It's funny because sometimes I've been people who came to my party, they hired me to spin for like a Nigerian birthday, and people look at me like, the hell is that guy? And then eventually when you play the music, people understand, and that's what I love about I don't know, like I find that most culture, white culture is less welcoming on my experience.
Yeah.
Every other culture, Arab, Black, Asian, I don't know, but I've always been as soon as you have like a little percentage of it, like you're part of the family.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not. I don't really listen to this.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, as soon as people see you dance, they're like, okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you, because I have the same experience on the dance side of things. Because sometimes when I walk in, they're like, I don't know about that.
But that's the
And then you get down, and there's just no question that I've spent the time to really understand what it is I'm doing and like where it comes from too, and I have respect for it.
Yeah.
And love for it.
So you see, like in Paris, I went through a lot of that, a lot of like racism and you know, not even it wasn't even that bad. It's just more like rejection in terms of like, oh, we don't want to be around that person. But then I got more involved into the hip hop community, and I thought I was just so beautiful that everybody was just, you know, mixed together.
You're right. Yeah.
There's no judgment. Everybody has a common passion, and I thought that was very interesting. And when I moved to Toronto, that's where I saw that there were a lot of separation.
Oh, you think so?
Oh yeah.
In the dance community?
Kind
I feel
of.
like I see a lot of mix.
There's a lot, but
I mean, I'm usually. Oops. Oh, good thing that wasn't full. I'm usually like heavily outweighed in terms of racial percentage in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt that it was a way different in my country.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, but I might be wrong.
I feel like there's definitely little like pockets here, maybe outside of the dance community, where, you know, like everybody kind of enjoys their type of food and their type of music, and they all kind of end up at the same kind of venues and this and that, just because of what they're into through their culture. You know, whether that be like Jamaican or African or whatever. But in the dance community, I feel like it's pretty mixed, but maybe that's just me.
Okay, I guess what was very different for me is the stereotypes. There's a lot of stereotypes. I think like people base their. Well, I guess there's stereotypes everywhere.
Maybe I don't understand the comparison in relation to France, because there's the language barrier, and like I wasn't there long enough to like get a sense of cultural.
I want to say, well, this is not even related to dance. Like I've heard many times. I heard a really interesting analogy comparing Canada and France as Canadians are really like peaches, and we are like coconuts. So Canadians are soft outside and really like hard to get inside, and French are like hard outside. Like it's really hard to build like a connection with them, but once you have it, it's very
interesting.
It's very strong. Yeah, that's the analogy I've heard, and I thought that was very interesting.
You should call that one of your first songs that you make. You should call it Peaches and Coconut. That's an interesting analogy. I mean, I had heard, to be honest with you, and this is not coming from me, this is coming from like anybody I had ever talked to in the dance community that went to Paris.
Okay.
They were always just like, yeah, they're really cold, they're really mean, they don't let you in the cypher. Like, it was like, to be honest with you, it was a lot of negative reviews. So when I was getting ready to go to Paris, I was kind of like prepared for that a little bit in my mind. I wasn't like expecting it, because I like to make my own judgments of things. But I was like, okay, I've been warned, like it might be like that. So, and I felt the total opposite. And maybe it's just my personality welcomes a different energy, I'm not sure, but I felt nothing but love and kindness from everybody, and it felt really welcoming.
Yeah.
And cool. And I got in the cypher, no problem. Like, there was other women getting in the cypher, it was all good. Like, maybe I caught the right time, maybe it wasn't always like that, I'm not sure, but I had a really positive experience with French people, with Parisian people. Like, it was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition too. Maybe what you said about not having the, like, maybe the big name there right now kind of like played on your side. I've heard from Axel, for example, she had bad experience going in France. And
yeah, she's one of the people that told me that, yeah.
And she was constantly like, you know, people wanted to call her out and stuff like that. And I think it's a side effect of her name, and people want to test their skills and stuff like that. So
Yeah, maybe I'm just like not a threat to anybody. Everyone's just
yeah,
like,
but there's a
"This is
huge.
fine."
I think there's a huge party culture still in France.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like from when I left, I heard that it's dying little by little. But yeah,
It felt like, I mean, it was just debut, so obviously it's gonna be more hype. But like, I went to like 3 or 4 parties, and they were all like going off. There was tons of people. It was
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Alright, on that note, let's close this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
No problem.
coming.
Thanks for. Yeah, this was great.
Great conversation.
Fancy Tesla. Let's roll around in the Tesla.
All right.